All right, everybody, this is a warning to all politicians. I'm running for President 2024, part 22, I believe. This will be a quick one here, I think. Just a quick overview. So we went over the monetary system, the idea about going to a cashless society, some of the things on how that would work. I know there's still some other things. How would people say you had a car you wanted to sell to your buddy or something like that? Would there be an app, or there already are apps to transfer money between people and stuff? So I guess that's problem solved right there. Just from one account to another. So we'd save a ton of money on printing money and all the coinage, and make it harder for criminals. Be easier to track. And you'd have evidence, like, your average drug dealer on the street is gonna say they use that app, transfer. He gets busted dealing his dope. They can pull up the records. They can see everybody he's done business with, vice versa. They bust somebody a user. They can see who he bought it from. Get rid of all them check cashing places. You'd keep, foreign nationals who are here illegally from being taken advantage of as much. Plus, you know that they're paying taxes because anything that goes into their account, if it wasn't money that was being taxed on a regular, looked like payroll going in or something, then you'd be able to bust the employer for not withholding, stuff like that. So a lot of advantages to it. I don't see any downsides to it, actually, maybe except for nations, transactions with other nations and how we'll work it and what it's going to be. Because right now, like I said, there's no gold standard. It's petrodollar, and even that is hanging by a thread if you look at the prices of oil and stuff in other nations with their own petroleum industries and stuff like that. Nations like Russia and stuff and everything that really actually don't have to deal with getting their supply from the Middle East anymore. Not unless it's cheaper for them to sell theirs off and then buy from the Middle East or whatever. But so a lot of things. It's 2020. We need to move forward. I talked about transportation. We got to have innovative ideas and get moving on them. Problem that's, year after year after year we deal with, just like crime, and year after year after year we deal with it. Welfare system, everything, year after year we deal with it. Here lately, homelessness has been a big problem, but year after year we deal with it. The encampments under the overpasses and stuff are growing. See a lot of people flapping their gums about it, but not doing anything to go out and get them off the street. Criminal justice reform, I believe we need that. Tired of being told we got to coddle these criminals and watch their calories and all this type of stuff when we have school children who can't get a lunch and can't go to school in a decent building. Electronic and technological advancements be used in fighting crime. Can we put chips in guns and stuff that would warn school that a gun came on the premises? Can we put these tags on these cars that will cut down on the I was just pulled over because I'm driving while I'm black claims and this and that. It'll, shopping centers and everything, will have them. Streets will have them. There's a crime committed there. The cops can pull it up and look at what tags were there, and like that, and be able to track down people who were at crime scenes. Same with cell phones. They'll have them embedded, and the only way it's ever going to be looked at is if there was a crime committed somewhere and they pull it up and they look at not where you were. They're not pulling up your name and looking to see if you were there or anything like that. All that comes up is, hey, here's this serial number, this serial number, this number. We're tracking products. You understand? We're tracking cars, guns, or cell phones. Nothing to do with your name at that point. They just look and they see what number is there. Then if they need warrants or whatever, according to the law, they can get those, or they can just come question you about, hey, you were there, did you see anything, whatever. And then if they decide they need to really get one of those, them scanners are around the city. They can narrow down to where that car is or whatever like that. And if it's rolling, they got a kill switch in the car. No more police chases. Every car that, I think also every car will have a thing where, except for emergency, we'll cut the cell phones off, because we have distracted driving accidents. So, and we can use some kind of, I don't know, maybe an app if you're in the car and you're not driving or whatever, that can detect something. I don't know, but lots of ways we can fight crime going in. And I talked about tougher laws for hackers and identity theft and all these types of things. Talked about, we're going to make a shift from the super uber military budget. We're still going to have a strong military, but nuclear weapons really, with missile defense and all that, are really fast becoming obsolete, and I think that's a good thing. And so I think we ought to work on reducing nuclear weapons around the world. Give it all these countries and discuss our military budgets and stuff like this, and get everybody to realize, look, we can all live in peace with each other, and we can save all this money. We're all just, because everything becomes obsolete at such a fast pace anymore. We're all just pissing this money away. Let's put it to good use. Let's become partners in the space program. Which, by the way, thinking about that, I was talking about going to Mars and stuff. I was wondering, could you add whatever components you need to the space station for crew and supplies and all that kind of stuff, and could you then just get some engines up there, bolt them on there, some rockets, and fly it out to Mars and put it in orbit around Mars? Wouldn't that be good use for it, if we needed to do it that way? And then when you sent ships up there, they could just dock with the station there, and then deploy from the station down to the surface in a lander or something like that. Excuse me. What do you think? I don't know if it would work. You have to talk to the engineers and the people at NASA. So, and we can take these people from these defense contractor companies, put them in projects like that and other things in the space, and we can have them go into environmental technologies, new engine design for cars and trucks, new energy. There's all kinds of fields for people in defense contractor jobs. So that wouldn't be a problem, doing that. Talked a little about maybe election campaign campaign reform. Are some of our term limits too short? You know, we'll put a limit on how many terms you can do, or maybe even age for being in office or something. Is 80 years old too much? 70 years old too much? We talked about things like Social Security and this and that, and we'll look at all that type of stuff and straighten it out. Make sure you're getting what you pay into it, and if you're not, then your family gets what you paid into it. Also talked about, we're going to redo the tax code. Why do you have to pay tax, your whole life on salary and stuff? Can we just, start it at like 24 and go to 54 or 64 or something, with, certain limitations, like if you make over a certain amount, then you'll get taxed. If you haven't reached the age of 24 yet, then you'll get taxed if it's a large amount you're making. And the same thing after retirement. If it's after a certain amount, you're going to get taxed, but if it's not, then you're not going to pay any tax. Some people would say, well, what's different about that now if you take your exemption and this and that, and then you retire and you don't make that much money? Because there's going to be more leeway in it. Because say right now, if you're below the age of 24 and you're making $50,000 a year, you're getting taxed. You don't have enough exemptions and stuff, and that's you're trying to pay off college tuitions and loans and stuff, and or start a family. We're going to give you a little more of a break, so you can get your life on track. And when you retire, you look at all the extra costs and medical and everything like that. Retirees have, a lot of them still have to work, so why should we be taxing them? And why should we limit the hours they work and all this and everything, all that kind of crap? You can only get if you go over this amount of money, we're going to cut Social Security. So we're going to get rid of that kind of stuff. There should be no reason, somebody who's been a good citizen their whole lives and everything in their old age should have some kind of restriction on them, taking away their benefits if they work past you put them between a rock and a hard spot. Social Security doesn't pay enough for what they need, and then they get a job, and then you tell them, well, you can't get ahead that way either, because now we're going to cut your Social Security. So make sure you don't work too much. So we're going to look at all these hoops and these things that make life hard, more difficult than they need to be. I talked about driver's licenses. Why do you have to get a new one all the time? If it's like a debit card, have your thumbprint, your photograph, and your address and all that digitally imprinted somehow. I know we gotta get better with these chips and these things because they wear out, but we'll get the information in there. A lot of things are tapped now, so and then you'll have an app instead of having to go to motor vehicle to get a new photograph or whatever. You just put your photograph in there. You can't put you won't be able to put a new thumbprint. That you'll have to go down or something if something goes wrong with that. But the officer will come up, slide your card in his little reader there, your picture, your current address, which you'll be able to change if you need to through the app. All that stuff will come up. Your thumbprint will come up if he wants to check and make sure that is you and everything. If your photograph doesn't look enough or whatever, he's got a little scanner there. You put your thumbprint on the scanner. No confusion. So lots of ideas, and I'm not saying any of these things are written in stone. We go over them with the tech guys and all that kind of stuff, and find out what the best way to do it would be, and get the ball moving. make life easier. Why do you have to deal with so many of these agencies like motor vehicle and IRS, and if you pay child support, why you got to deal with a clearinghouse and child support, and then in some cases something that's civil like that, why do you have to deal with the court unless you're a deadbeat dad or something? Why, if you've met all your requirements and done paying and all this, why does it take going through a court to get it done? Why do you got to be treated like a criminal? It's something that's civil, and unless something's been done wrong, why do you need to deal with all this? Why we got electronics now? Why in this country are there still dead spots for cell phone and Wi-Fi? And we'll get the technology out into the rural areas. We're going to look at all these stupid restrictions they got about companies fighting each other over who gets the cell tower in a certain area, or who gets we're going to look at data charges and stuff because they're outrageous for what it costs. Text messaging and all this and stuff. So we're going to look at sales taxes. We're going to get rid of those wherever we can. Why do you have a sales tax on certain things, like if it's on your phone bill or your water bill or whatever? It's a private water company, and this on necessities. What other things can we get rid of taxes on that have become necessities in the modern life for people just to survive? So a lot of those things, and we're going to look into this, who's backing all these groups and stuff to violate your rights of freedom to associate with whatever political party you want to, as long as it's a political party that is based on our American freedoms and the Constitution, uphold and defend it, and it's not some communist party or something like this that starts up that says, hey, our goal is to totally take over the United States and do away with its founding documents and go to a socialist or communist nation and stuff. Then shouldn't be no problem with it. Having a MAGA hat or an Obama hat or something like that on, whatever political party you associate with, you shouldn't be attacked in the streets. We're going to look at these cities, about rebuilding these cities, these urban areas that have been neglected for decades, and we're gonna dig into why can they find $1 billion or $500 million to build a sports stadium, but they can't find the money to do anything to rebuild these neighborhoods. There's no innovative ideas on how we can do that and provide housing for low income and stuff. Well, I've made my ideas clear. Because you're gonna own it. You're gonna get the deal of a lifetime. We're gonna make being a law-abiding citizen more attractive than being a criminal. We're gonna if we can't give teachers and firemen and other types of city workers decent pay, we're going to give them an offer on this low-cost housing also. And that's another thing. A lot of cities are buried under pensions that they made all these pension deals and stuff like this, and then they underfunded them, whatever, and now you got people who can't get their pensions and things like this, and you got cities, filing bankruptcy, states, all these types of things and everything. We're going to look at the pension system and see what we can do to make sure people get their pensions. But then by the same token, we got to look at these contracts and stuff everybody makes to give if it's an exorbitant pension or retirement from the state or from the federal government. That's just flat out ridiculous. we're gonna trim some of that down too. So a lot of things. Just write in, get my name on the ballot. And it's Art's party. We're an independent party, and you know, come time when you can file the paperwork and make it official, we'll do all that. So give a thumbs up. I don't want anybody's money. I don't want, you know, there won't be no big rallies. There won't be no campaign funds. I don't want them. I'm a working man. And this will be to show, if anything, if we can do it, will be to show the politicians, hey, there's another way. The people can bypass voting for all you talking heads who have speechwriters to make you look polished and look like you know everything about everything, and you're lining your pockets with all this special interest money and campaign money funds, and you're just making a bunch of false promises. We don't need to go that route. The first ever YouTube presidential candidacy, we'll see. And I say first ever because I'm not aware if anyone else has done it. But if not me, somebody else, man, another man or a woman can pull this off, it'll be something. I'm not saying necessarily it has to be me. I'm gonna make it. I'm saying, you know, this is serious for the effort and everything. You know, this ain't a joke. You know, give thumbs up, whatever. If you want to give money to something, your favorite charity. I've already said that. I don't want anybody's money. Don't want anybody's backing. Don't want any volunteers going out doing anything. This is it. That's all you get. You get a video, my ideas and opinions. You like them. You write me in on the ballot. And come time to vote, you vote for me. That's it. That's all you get. We don't need spending millions and billions of dollars every election that comes around, and listening to all the speech writers and spin doctors and stuff that makes them half-wit seem like they're polished. This is what you get. So, oh, I went crooked there, didn't I? Sorry. But that's it. That's all you get. My ideas, and the attempt to make the politicians have to sit up and notice and take stock that we're living in a new age. People want things done. They're tired of crime. They're tired of the endless cycle of poverty, of welfare, and this and that. You have to give them a stake in the neighborhood. They have to have a vested interest. You have to maintain these cities, the streets and the sidewalks and all this, because if you don't give people a decent place to live, they're not going to feel like they owe you anything to participate in society. You know, they're going to be more apt to go the drug route and the gang route and all this and everything. But we're tired of all that crap too. You ask me, the street gangs aren't any different than the Ku Klux Klan. They aren't. Fear and intimidation, killing of minorities, all that. It's just, hey, different skin color, different funny outfit. That's all. It's all the same. Murder of a human being is murder of a human being. Why you're upset about one and not the other is beyond me. It is beyond me. But we're gonna look at all these things. We're gonna have serious discussions about all this type of stuff. So wish you the best out there. Be safe, and we'll catch you on the next one. And I'm gonna give it a rest now. I think what's this, 22 of these things here right now is enough. But we'll see what else I think of in the future, and give an update and all this. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how many the thumbs up and stuff like that we get in comments, and see if we're gonna make a worthwhile try at this. We're gonna have 4 years, so it's a long road. All right, adios.